6-7970.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz at Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday. About half the work week in the rear view mirror. Glad you're hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Got Jacob Beck and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Our Wednesday staples coming at you today. DJ, that would be JD Piquel coming up in 15 minutes talking National College Football. CUSA, big story coming up today at UNLV. Their quarterback just quit. And it's through NIL, and we'll talk to JD about what he thinks about it. I've got my thoughts in the second hour. It's What If Wednesday. We'll get into some of that. Dennis Allen meets with the media at 2 o'clock. We'll touch on some of the topics that he covers. And SEC Football Power Rankings coming at you at 2:30, our latest installation of Power Rankings. I'm pumped up today. Going to head over to LSU basketball practice after my show is over. Media gets a look at the team on their first day of workouts. We'll be able to talk a little bit about that tomorrow, and fired up to get out there and just kind of see some of these young guys that we have not seen yet with LSU basketball. I think is going to be a bubble team in the NCAA tournament this year, but we'll see. A long way to go from that perspective, but excited to get out there and do a little bit of that. With that, we'll put basketball in the rearview mirror. We're 1 minute and 53 seconds in. We're going to go football the rest of the way here. And we start with player interviews from yesterday. You never really know who you're going to get as far as the player interviews go when you walk in on Tuesday evenings. And to our surprise and delight, in my opinion, we got to talk to some LSU freshmen yesterday. We got to talk to Trey'Dez Green. We got to talk to Deshaun Spears. And we also got to talk to Ahmad Bro. They were joined by Kyle Parker, and I've got a couple pieces up at LouisianaSports.net right now. One, a Q&A with Kyle Parker where he covers a lot of different topics, and then kind of some quotes from all three of the freshmen as it relates to getting ready to play football your first year. There was a time where freshmen came in and they just redshirted. I mean, Alan Faneca is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He redshirted as a freshman at LSU. He was a first-round pick eventually. That was just the norm 25, 30 years ago. Now, kids are, when they come in, you got to play. You might leave after 1 year to go transfer somewhere. You might leave after 3 years to go to the NFL. And young people are just more prepared to play college football now than they ever have been. And I thought Ahmad Bro's answers on some of this stuff was fantastic. If you'll remember, and you may not, because Ahmad Bro was not thought of as one of the more heralded players in this signing class. Certainly, Trey'Dez Green was thought of in that way as a five-star. But Ahmad Bro was kind of a three-star defensive end from Ruston, who LSU grabbed late. Louisiana Tech was in the mix. He had an offer from Grambling. I mean, when you see that show up on a profile, it's unusual for an LSU player to look like that on the internet. But Ahmad Bro's a guy that they brought in, and I was surprised when Brian Kelly was asked the week of the USC game, what true freshman might go out there and play in the first game. And Ahmad Bro was one of the first names that he came up with, and I thought that was really, really interesting. And oh, by the way, he was talking about defensive tackle. So Ahmad Bro talked about the plan for him as a defensive end in high school to become a defensive tackle. Keep in mind, he was an early enrollee, so he came in the spring. This is what he had to say about the switch to defensive tackle.
Coach Kelly had that plan, before spring ball started, and, it wasn't really ideal for my development to gain all that weight in that short amount of time, so we waited till after the spring, and I was more than happy to do it, getting coached by Bo Davis, playing in a spot where I'm more fitted, and I mess with it a lot.
So he was into the idea to move down. But you had to know that there was a plan in place. And this is a deal where in recruiting, a lot of things get said, a lot of things get promised. Sometimes you go through with them. Sometimes you get the guy on campus and you decide what's best at that point. And Ahmad talked about that he know it was the plan that, hey, you were going to go from end down into tackle.
People were cracking jokes about it, but I didn't think they were serious because Sherman Wilson, he saw me on a visit, and it was actually when I got big on accident, and I came to a visit, and he was like, "You gonna eat yourself into a 3-tech?" Everybody else kept cracking the same joke, and Coach Kelly on my OV, he said, "I'm gonna talk to Dr. Freshmen and get you up to 275." I was like, "Oh." It's kind of big for DN, ain't it? So, I guess it was their plan the whole time. He even talked to my coach, and I played interior D-line for the rest of the season, my senior year. So I think it was their plan the whole time to move me in.
So they moved him inside at Ruston, and he played at his playing weight at Ruston on the inside. He's bigger than most guys at that level anyway. You just shift down. But to play that at college level, you got to gain some weight. And a lot of college kids, myself very much included, gain weight when they get to college, but that's not necessarily always good weight. And so Ahmad Bro had to talk about what the plan was once he got to LSU, how he was going to put on 10, 20, 30, upwards of 40 pounds to move inside a defensive tackle.
They just gave me like a map, how much protein I'm supposed to eat and all that. And honestly, I didn't go up that much in body fat. And I just ate a lot of Whataburger. I ain't gonna lie to you. And what they had in PNC, the PNC, the chefs, they're great. You know, they recommend whatever you need to eat. And they cook good stuff, honestly. And I was eating on that. I did it the right way.
A lot of Whataburger, he says, and then they also have that kitchen. If you haven't been on campus or aren't aware of where it is, you know where Football Ops is. It's right there at the corner of Skip Burtman and Nicholson, basically across the train tracks. And that's where football operations is. That's where the indoor is. That's where the practice fields are. But also hooked to that is their new nutrition center and cafeteria. And the chef, Michael Johnson, who comes on with the guys every week in the morning, he's in there, and they're making sure that all the athletes have the ability to come in there and get something to eat. But he did mention Whataburger in that bite. So we had to ask, all right, Ahmad, like, if you're eating a bunch of Whataburger, like, what is the order at Whataburger for you?
What's your Whataburger order?
You're a Whataburger guy? My Whataburger order, so I order a sweet spicy bacon burger with jalapenos on it, 3 large fries, and a large Powerade, gas.
My man's been through that drive-thru a time or two. He had that figured out
Who was
in
that?
a hurry.
Who was that, though, that said gas? That wasn't him.
That was him.
It was? It sounded like somebody came in and said
no,
something.
that was him, and I believe that's, as the kids say, that's really awesome. Not necessarily the side effect of eating all that food.
I did know what that meant.
Look,
I know you may not have.
A lot of people are older than me
okay.
listening to the show, so we got to make that happen. But yeah, that's a strong Whataburger. Trust me, I put on plenty of pounds in my day. I've eaten plenty of Whataburger in my day. I don't know that I've ordered 3 large fries in one sitting.
3 large fries is just really.
Now, I don't think I'd have any problem eating 3 large fries. I just don't know that's something that I'm gonna get out there and order.
I don't think I would feel amazing after eating 3 large fries.
No, but you know what? In college, you can just kind of do
it.
Yeah,
you just
kind of do what
true.
you do.
I mean, you can put mayonnaise on spaghetti. You can eat 3 large fries.
I think it was penne, but either way,
okay.
It was. So that's the order for Dominic Bro. And we talked about Bo Davis and his coaching style. And Ahmad, if you were listening earlier 5 minutes ago when we were talking about wanting him to switch, and he was talking about being coached by Bo Davis, he's obviously struck up a really good relationship with his new position coach.
No, it's a funny experience, but that's my dog, man. I love Coach Bo, man. You could tell him anything. He really cares. He really cares for who he coaches. He doesn't just see you as a number. He sees you as, I could compare it to like one of his sons. He sees us as that, and he wants to coach us the hardest as long as we want to get coached too.
And so that's impressive, because Bo Davis wasn't here when they recruited Ahmad Bro. He was being recruited by the previous defensive staff, and this was just kind of a new guy that was tossed in his lap, and obviously they've gotten off to an incredible start. I asked Ahmad then coming up next, like, what do you think Bo's seen from the last 4 games with the defensive line?
He critiques our technique more than anything, but he thinks we've done well the past few games. And, a good coach is always going to critique the small things. It's never perfect. A game is never perfect, and it's really never good. He's striving for perfection, and that's what a good coach does, and that's what he does every day.
And so this is a continuous message that I've heard from LSU's players and from LSU's coaches with the media. They seem to think that the defensive front is doing a good job. And that includes Ahmad Bro. That includes Gio Paez and Sean Washington that they've they've thrown in there. Gabe Relaford's played some. The edge guys have had their moments, Savion Jones and certainly Braden Swinson, but they feel pretty good with what they've seen from the defensive line. The one guy that you might be able to add to that mix and that you saw last week is Dominic McKinley. He's missed some time with that turf toe. He was obviously a 5-star recruit, and he's probably the first defensive lineman you thought you would see to the field from this signing class, but that hadn't been the case because of the injury that set him back a little bit. But we asked Ahmad about Dom McKinley and what he's seen from Dom thus far.
He critiques our
We got it?
Wait, hold on. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh man, Dom's my dog, man. I was glad to see him get his first sack. Against an opponent like UCLA, his first game getting in. Yeah, it was special, and being able to share that with him, it's gonna be us for the next 3 to 4 years. So I'm glad to see him, coming into his own. Dom could be a physical, dominant player. Like he's different. He can move well for his size. He's becoming more trim. Being able to move better, and by the time it's all said and done, he's gonna be a great player for LSU.
That's kind of where you're looking for this defense to take its leaps. I don't know as I sit here today that LSU's defense is going to be a dominant unit this season. In fact, I would wager against that. I think they can show up play to play. I think they can show up maybe Saturday to Saturday, and they may have their best game here in one of the biggest games that LSU plays. But it's not going to look like the championship defenses of LSU's past, in my opinion, and I think that's probably more personnel-based than anything. But these are the guys you've got to get to the field that have got to become that next group of dominant players for LSU. And if you feel like those two freshmen, Dominic McKinley and Ahmad Bro, as well as Gabe Relaford, can blossom into something special, and maybe Deshaun Womack comes along with them, and you've got a couple guys committed in this class that Bo Davis really likes, and you kind of grow from within. That's the plan that Brian Kelly has had. It just takes some time. It's not an immediate fix. But if it clicks, you can get 3 really good years out of these guys instead of 4 really good months. And that's the plan that Brian Kelly's got. So I had a great time chatting with Ahmad Bro yesterday. I thought he was candid. I thought he was funny. I thought he was fun. I thought he was confident. And I thought that he felt like he had a really bright future at LSU alongside Dominic McKinley and Gabriel Relaford. So I thought it was a cool deal. There's some more quotes from Ahmad Bro, and there's some more quotes from Trey'Dez Green and the other freshman that we talked to yesterday at my story up at LouisianaSports.net. But I thought that was a good way to kickstart the show here with Ahmad Bro and his Whataburger order and how he has kind of transformed himself into a defensive tackle at LSU. All right, we'll step aside when we come back. J.D. Piquel of On3 Sports will talk national college football stories. That's coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is the website. If you're a business owner and you just don't have any idea what EPL insurance is, you don't know what crime insurance covers or what the risks are for your business in terms of cyber insurance, what's directors and officers, do you have it? Do you have an umbrella policy? What limits do you need? If that sounds foreign to you and you own a business, you should probably reach out to the Highland Insurance Group, because you need a trusted advocate to make sure that whatever it is you need to manage a crisis within your organization, you've got from the Highland Insurance Group. They've got markets all over the country that are happy to service your needs. You don't want to think about insurance after the issue arises. Well, we've had a car accident. There's been some severe injuries. Are auto limits right? Is that car insured properly? Okay, well, a storm's on the way. We can't buy any more insurance. Do we have the right deductible? Do we have the right property limits? What about business interruption? Do we have that? If you don't know these answers, you should. And the Highland Insurance Group can help you through that process. So call Jonathan Carbo today. Go to HighlandIG.com and set up that consultation so that they audit your insurance program and make sure everything looks right. Insurance is never fun to talk about. I did it for 7 years. I know. But it can be very, very important. And I've seen it save businesses before. If you've got a business and you're not sure what your insurance program says, have Jonathan Carbo and the Highland Insurance Group come in and help you out. If you're looking for a magic bullet to save you 20%, this is not the call to make, because that's just not realistic in the marketplace today. But you can have the proper coverages with the proper people involved, and that's where the Highland Insurance Group comes in. Check them out online at HighlandIG.com. HighlandIG.com. It's the Highland Insurance Group.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Chugging right along here, Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. It's a What If Wednesday. Get your What Ifs in on Twitter at HuntPalmer88, as well as, at HuntPalmer88, as well as for the LSU postgame show, which we're not doing currently at this very moment. So just send them to me at HuntPalmer88. We'll get to some of those here. And you can also fire them away in the Bayou Ford chat if you so desire as well. Got plenty to do in the second hour, including my SEC football power rankings. Got some movement in the power rankings this week. Not a ton, and not a ton at the top, but there is some towards the back end of the power rankings that we will certainly get to. I'm sure Beck will be very invested in all of that. But it is 1:15. It is Wednesday. That means it's time to go to our guy, JD Piquel, host of The Hard Count on On3 Sports. You can check out his content on YouTube. Subscribe up to the On3 channel. Get JD's action every single day. He's with us every single Wednesday. JD, how we doing?
Man, I'm good. I was really excited to wake up this morning and talk about, the big picture with the playoff and talk Bama, Georgia, and then the G5 party turns up the music with what they got going out there in Vegas, man. But nonetheless, happy to talk ball with you.
We're going to talk about that first. I mean, what do you make of that entire situation for those that have missed it all day and are just checking out for lunch, whatever the case may be? UNLV's quarterback, they're 3-0, they're ranked, and he said, I'm out of here because the collective made me promises. They didn't, give me my money, basically, and so I'm going to redshirt and go somewhere else where they will give me my money. Now, UNLV's pushing back, saying, hey, we didn't ever say we were going to give you $100,000. This has not been written down anywhere. All our stuff is contractual. So where do you fall in all this, JD?
I'm all over the place, man. I think if you're Matthew Sluka and you were promised a certain amount of money, and if that truly was the case, whether it was verbal, whether it was contractual, a deal's a deal, even if it's a handshake. And so I think if I'm that guy, I would feel a little bit like, golly, man, I don't know if this is exactly what I signed up for. Take that back. I know this isn't what I signed up for. I don't want to do this. You're kind of forcing my hand here a little bit. Now, if it's a thing where I see other reports out there where UNLV met all of their agreements, and there's the narrative out there that he walked in and asked for more money. If that's the case, that's a whole other discussion. I would also add this, though. There seems to be this thought of, well, maybe he's going to, redshirt and go play somewhere else. And, I guess that's kind of his thought with taking this redshirt. But if you're him, it's like, man, how do you pick up the pieces here? How do you pick up the pieces from, being the story on Twitter now for the better part of the last however many hours? I'd expect it to go for at least another, 24 hours. The whole thing is just so bizarre. Last thing I'll say, if you hate this situation, like I think most college football fans do, as bizarre as it sounds, this may be the catalyst we get for some change. But again, if UNLV offered something contractually or verbally, whatever it is, if you entice a kid to come to your school with $100,000 and don't make good on it, it's probably on the agent to not get it in writing. But I think at the end of the day, it's wrong. It's wrong. It's dishonest, and I don't have a major issue with the kids saying I'm gonna play my cards here.
We'll see how things shake out there. Let's get to on-the-field stuff from this past weekend. Tennessee put the clamps on Oklahoma defensively, did enough offensively to win. Oklahoma changed its quarterback. What was the biggest storyline for you in the Vols' win in Norman?
For Tennessee, it is they're an SEC title contender. Now, are they going to win the SEC? They got to trend upward. But, I mean, how long have Tennessee fans waited to see a defense they could lean on under Josh Heupel? Credit Josh Heupel for continuing to up the standard and recruit the way they've recruited, and now through the portal to now have a defense that can go on the road and hold an opposing offense to 25 points and win the football game. So I think that was a big takeaway for me is, okay, this Tennessee operation, they've got some real staying power here. Now, offensively for Oklahoma, you're like, hey, we got some issues. And I think some of that is Jackson Arnold. I think some of that's the offensive line. I think all of our eyes work just fine. Michael Hawkins Jr. needs to be the guy going forward for them. And I think a lot of that is based on what they don't have up front and needing a guy that can kind of create some more magic with his legs. So a lot of stories, but again, the big one, the Vols, I think, are very much so a playoff team.
Oklahoma's got the worst total offense in the Southeastern Conference, and they look pretty good on defense. Has the Lincoln Riley to Brent Venables shift fully taken form here where they're now a defensive program?
Yeah, I think so. I think it has taken form. I think the tough part is everyone now is dunking on Jackson Arnold. Yeah. He's absolutely earned his fair share of that. My thing is we don't even get to see what kind of quarterback he is because he's not working with a ton of time back there. And I know the comeback from Oklahoma fans is like, well, hey, JD, the interception and the fumble and the lateral, that was a bizarre situation. He's not getting pressure there. And that's absolutely true. But I think the turnovers were just the tip of the iceberg there. I think that was kind of the final straw that caused them to make that switch. But Oklahoma struggled offensively at different points this year and looked lackluster against Tulane, against Houston. I mean, to have a sack rate allowed of 9%. The problems are much bigger than Jackson Arnold. So while those turnovers are the reason for the pivot, I think in a lot of ways, Michael Hawkins Jr. was always the better answer with what they have up front.
Look, I'm not here to tell you that NC State's a great football team. I think the proof is in the pudding. They're probably not. But is there a chance that Clemson's figured some things out? They scored damn near 60 points on Saturday.
Right, and it was the second time they scored they scored 66 against App State. And App State's not a world beater, but golly, 66 and Pop Warner in the ACC, man, I don't care. That's a good deal. If you're a Clemson fan, it's got to just feel like Andy Dufresne in Shawshank, doesn't it? I mean, getting out of the prison that was the 5-star quarterback and the genius OC that is not able to produce an explosive passing game, and now you have a quarterback go for 8.5 yards an attempt, and you're throwing the ball all over the yard. It's just got to be so validating. If this is their offense, Hunt, that defense I have no reservations about.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us wrote Clemson off after Georgia. They could be a playoff team, this 12-team model. No Syracuse, no Miami. They could be a team that ends up making a run at this thing if this is truly the new offense.
What should LSU fans take from the final score in Ann Arbor, 27-24 Michigan beats USC?
It's a really good question. I think if you're I don't think it should invalidate any thought around USC. I mean, I think USC is a couple of run fits away from being undefeated, and the story is how improved the USC defense is because they only allowed 250 instead of 290 on the ground. Like, I just think Michigan with their traits that they still have there, their physical ability to just manhandle people, I think that's still there. But I mean, USC, if you're a USC fan watching that game, you're saying, okay, we go up with a couple 4 minutes to go, and then you also have the pick six. Like, USC, I think, was the better team on that day, but Michigan played the better game and matched up better against USC, and that was kind of the difference. So I don't think it waters down the USC win by any stretch. If I'm or the USC game rather, USC loss by any stretch. If I am a LSU fan.
Okay, I don't think there were a lot of eyeballs on LSU nationally on Saturday. It was 17-17 at half, and then LSU won the second half 17-0. It was a real tale of two halves. It was not great for the first half, but it was really good in the second half. Anything that you would draw from LSU against UCLA on Saturday?
I mean, besides the Harold Perkins situation, there's not a ton more I would take. I think some of it too is like it's a little bit of a lull right now for South Carolina or for LSU. You had the South Carolina game, then you had the UCLA game. Like, tough to get up after that stretch. But no, I mean, I think for LSU, their whole approach, I'd have to believe, is like, hey, let's play our best football at the right time. Now, you want to play your best football from game one all the way through, but with breaking in a new quarterback and a new DC, like, there's a lot there that's still gelling. Even with the new play caller and Joe Sloan, there's a lot that's still gelling, it feels like. And so I'm not waving the panic flag just yet because, what you mentioned, the first half struggles. I think Garrett Nussmeier, once it clicks for him, he's going to be in a really, really good shape, and LSU's going to be dangerous.
Let's transition to this coming weekend. Interesting spot here. Oklahoma, off huge environment and a loss, goes down to Auburn. They've lost 2 home games to mediocre to bad football teams in Cal and Arkansas. It's a 2.5-point number. Oklahoma is a home favorite. What do you think about that one? Between 2 big name brands, but 2 teams that are really struggling to find anything on offense.
Man, it's going to be something. It's going to be something, and that's not much of an analysis there for you, Hunt. I think the question I ask from both sides is, okay, what's more believable? Is it more believable that a Michael Hawkins Jr. rolls into Jordan Hare and plays well enough to win, or is it more believable that a very lackluster Auburn offense has a get-right spot against the top 10 defense in Oklahoma? I'd probably side more so with the idea that Michael Hawkins Jr., from what we saw against Tennessee, is going to play well enough. I do not think it'll be pretty. I think the total is like 45-ish.
45.5, yeah.
Feels like the spot there, Hunt. I don't know, but I'll go ahead and take Oklahoma to win. I think it'll be a good game, but I think Oklahoma wins ugly.
I have an early tell for my Friday show. I'm feeling Hugh Freeze figuring something out in this game at home. It just feels like something Auburn and Hugh Freeze would do. So I like Auburn in that game on the Plains coming up on Saturday. Another kind of game between teams that don't look great, but maybe a little bit better than we thought, is Arkansas and Texas A&M from Arlington. Yeah. Texas A&M's a 4-point choice there. What do you think?
So I on our show, I said I think Marcel Reed needs to be the guy for A&M. And if he's not the guy for A&M, then I'm taking Arkansas money line, not thinking twice about it. Marcel Reed just adds such a dynamic element to Texas A&M to where if he's the guy, I would probably feel good about taking A&M. I think there's an unofficial depth chart out there right now that has Connor Wegman listed as a starter. Taylor Green's just special, man. And I think, honestly, they probably should be undefeated with how they played in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and finding a way to lose that game in overtime. I still like Arkansas. I'm not sold on A&M's defense just yet. I think Arkansas and Taylor Green kind of run roughshod and find a way to get it done.
Brett Bielema was a pretty good coach. They beat Kansas earlier this year. They went to Nebraska and won by 7 last weekend. Now they go to Happy Valley to play Penn State. It's a top 20 matchup. You give the Fighting Illini any chance at Penn State this week?
Yeah, I do give them a chance. The interesting thing about this one to me, Hunt, is Illinois plays a lot of man coverage, and our question for Penn State has been, well, can they be explosive? Can they have, deep downfield plays consistently? And we saw flashes against West Virginia. This, to me, is going to be a really, really interesting style matchup. If Penn State does truly have some dudes on the outside that can make it happen for them, that's going to end up being, I think, the story of the game. But if not, we'll be sitting here on Monday saying, golly, like, what's up with Penn State's offense? It was good against West Virginia. Like, who are they? So I think Penn State does win. I'm taking Drew Allard. I'm taking that Penn State defense. But that'll be, I think, a very, very, like you said, sneaky good game early on in the college football season.
All right, let's go to Bryant Denny in Tuscaloosa. Number 2, Georgia at number 4, Alabama. We'll get to the crowd and we'll get to your winning pick here when we get there. But like, who's got a better quarterback in this game? Is it Carson Beck? Is it Jalen Milroe?
That's a really good question. I think the better prospect is Carson Beck, which I don't know is too controversial of a take. If I have one guy though to make a play on 4th and 1, I want Jalen Milroe. And so that's a way to kind of sit on the fence there to your question, which I hate doing. But I think right now the way they're utilizing Jalen Milroe and the way they're playing their skill set and the quarterback run game, like there's just so many things that I love about Jalen Milroe in this game, and it's going to be exciting, man. I can't wait. It'll be a lot of fun.
What's the key?
To me, I think it's the secondary for Alabama. And it's funny because I just talked about Jalen Milroe. I feel like in this game, if you're Carson Beck on the road, like I'd love to see him have the moment that Quinn Ewers had last year in Tuscaloosa. Like he goes out there and he's, granted he's thrown to a couple NFL wide receivers and Worthy and Adonai Mitchell, but like you just saw the Quinn Ewers that we had all talked about. And Carson Beck's got more skins on the wall than Ewers did at that point in time. But I think if you're Carson Beck, like you got to kind of plant your flag here, and this kind of has to be the game where you go from consistent to solid to being, the guy and making the difference.
Who wins it?
I'm taking Georgia. And I'm taking them in a close one, but I think ultimately Kirby Smart getting a week after that Kentucky game, I just think that's too much. I think Georgia's actually going to be able to run the football better than folks are thinking right now. The Wisconsin game lives a little bit in my mind if you're Alabama. I don't think Kirby loses the same way twice with Jalen Milroe. So I'll take the Dogs to win, Dogs to cover.
Enjoy the football this weekend, JD. Thanks, man.
Thanks so much, brother. Have a great one.
JD Piquel, host of the Hard Count, national college football analyst for On 3. You can subscribe to the On 3 channel or catch him every single Wednesday here on the Hunt Palmer Show. We'll come back with What If Wednesday next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Audio Video Security Solutions, AVSSLA.com is the website. Look, you're going to be watching South Alabama and LSU coming up on Saturday, but Georgia, Alabama is at basically the same time. You might want to think about a two-TV situation. You're not really sure how to make that happen. Audio Video Security Solutions can make that happen. That just makes your house the house to go watch the games. That's what you want, isn't it? Let the experts handle the TV mounting. They can supply the televisions as well. They can hook it all up, get your remote figured out, get the surround sound all plugged in and wired correctly. It's awesome, awesome stuff. And if you're like me and you're technologically unsavvy, let the folks at Audio Video Security Solutions do all of that work for you. This is Mitchell Fisher's cell. I give it to you each and every day. He's the guy you're going to call to start this process. He's the owner of the company right here in Baton Rouge. 225-439-7920. 225-439-7920. Anywhere in South Louisiana within 60 miles of Baton Rouge, they are happy to get there to help you with your audio, video, and security. They do mesh Wi-Fi installation as well, golf simulator installation. They can do all of it. Just got to give them a call or check them out online. It's avssla.com. That's Audio Video Security Solutions, avssla.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The best.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
SEC football power rankings coming your way about an hour from right now. Bottom of hour number 2. Dennis Allen meeting with the media coming up in about 25 minutes. We'll get you caught up on any news of the day. The Saints added a veteran guard to their roster earlier today. They're going to kind of move some pieces around as they deal with the injury and loss of Eric McCoy for 6 to 8 weeks. We kind of discussed that on yesterday's show, but we'll see what DA has to say today as Saints back at it on the practice field preparing for Atlanta in their trip over to the state of Georgia coming up on Sunday. That'll be a noon kickoff on Fox. Right now, it's What If Wednesday.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question, what if?
All right, first one here. What if Garrett Nussmeier stays at LSU for another season?
Well, that's really good for LSU.
It would be.
If he leaves, I think they're in some significant trouble. I don't really want to say this out loud, but I'll say it out loud anyway. For those that aren't aware of this, next year LSU's schedule includes at Clemson, at Alabama, at Ole Miss, and at Oklahoma. That's really not conducive to winning a lot of stuff. That's just the reality. They may go 4-0 in that stretch. I just currently sitting here would bet a little bit against that. That is 4 really difficult road games to go play. Now, yes, Ole Miss is losing a ton off this team, and maybe they lose their head coach, and maybe that place goes to crap. Who knows? I don't know what Clemson's going to be, but you feel like they're probably going to be pretty talented. Bama's going to be pretty talented. We'll see if Milroe's still there, if they've made a change, and I don't know what Oklahoma's going to be either. But you feel like those 4 teams are going to present a pretty difficult challenge on the road. I'd certainly rather Garrett Nussmeier be here to deal with that. But it feels like some sort of 11-1 is going to be very difficult to do with those 4 road games staring you in the face. But Garrett Nussmeier is really good, and I think he's got a lot of talent, and I think he could be a guy that receives a lot of accolades at some point. Maybe it's this year, maybe it's next year. It would give me a lot more confidence entering next year if Garrett Nussmeier was the quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't think you can really compare it to Jaden's situation because I don't think many people expected Jaden to leave after his first year, and that quarterback class was a lot better than the one that's coming up this year. And if Garrett keeps playing the way he is, I don't know how he wouldn't be one of the top 3 or 4 quarterback prospects for this draft. Now, I don't know what that means in terms of like where he would be drafted.
Well, right now, right now you've got Ewers and Beck who are thought to be ahead of him. You can pass them, but they are thought to be ahead of him right now.
Beck has struggled a little bit, so maybe his stock goes down. I don't know. He may pick it up, later in the year, but so far he hasn't been amazing.
And then, you've seen Jalen Milroe in some first rounds in mocks. We'll see how that progresses over the next 3 months. But I would like to have him. We'll take that.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on, what if Harold Perkins stays at LSU for another year?
Again, that's another guy I'd rather have. We all understand that situation now. We all understand that it hasn't been quite as impactful as you really thought because you saw lightning strike for 3 weeks straight with the Arkansas game and then the Bama game and really the Ole Miss game before that because Lane Kiffin came to the podium afterwards when the Ole Miss had taken a big lead and then LSU came back and ran them down. And he said, they put 40 out there and that really changed things. And that was obviously Harold's number at the time. Then he dominated the Arkansas game and he spied Bryce Young and everybody thought this guy's going to be the defensive player of the year in the nation next year. And that production hasn't quite come. And we all know that. But again, that's an athlete that I'd rather have and try to figure out than just not have the option. Brian Kelly talked about that on Monday. So look, Harold can go out there and cover a little bit. Harold can rush the passer. Harold can play in the box. Like, we don't have a lot of those guys just hanging out on campus. So clearly there is a talent level there that is something you want to try to unlock. They just never have done it. And so I would like to try again, but I don't know that you're going to get the chance.
Yeah, this kind of feels like the Mason Smith situation where it's and I would be shocked if he comes back next year. I think even with the injury, he has such great tools that I don't think an NFL team would allow him to get anywhere past the second or third round. And it's hard. It would be hard to see him pass up an opportunity like that. So I'd be shocked. But man, yeah, obviously it'd be great. But wouldn't see it happening. But of course, the next one is what if Perkins enters the draft?
I just don't know that I see him as a first-round pick today.
No, not first, probably.
It's just the size and the production aren't quite there. The testables and some of the highlights would say, yeah, that's a guy you really want to have on your team. But if you put the whole package together, it feels like, pick number 45 or 50 or 60. That's just kind of what it feels like to me. And then someone else is going to have the task that LSU's had for 3 years to try to figure out what you're supposed to do. There's guys that get paid a lot more money than I do to figure that out, and I certainly don't know the answer to that. But I don't think he's a top 25 pick in the draft at this point.
Yeah, I don't think he is either. Like I said, I think he's probably somewhere to second or third round, and even still, that's still pretty solid. And I'd be shocked if he doesn't come back for that. All right, I just see one in the chat that I really like. I think I know the answer to it. I'm going to be interested to see if I get it right here. What if Hunt could choose to be a member of any golf club besides Augusta National? What course is he picking?
There are a lot of layers to that question because one, accessibility.
Yeah. Well, let's just say.
Do I get private jet
let's just
access
say
to wherever I'm going?
Your travel is covered to get to the club. So anywhere.
I really think it's Cypress Point,
I've
already played it. But the weather's so good.
Yep.
It's so quiet there. The course is very playable. It was not brutally hard. Pine Valley would be one that immediately people would go to, but that place that might just be not fun. It's so hard. I want to play it and it'd be an amazing experience to go play it, but every ground and go shoot a billion. I don't know if I want to do that there or at Oakmont or Shinnecock or National Golf Links of America, all those. So I think my answer is probably Cypress Point. It's hard to get to from here. You got to go all the way out to the Monterey Peninsula, but it's 55 degrees all year long, 60 degrees all year long, and I can play that golf course. I wasn't playing great at the time, and I shot 81 there. So
terrible. What a terrible
doable.
Score for
It's not a terrible score. That's not a terrible score at all. That's what I'm saying. Is I wasn't playing a lot of golf and I was able to shoot my normal score. So that's a plus.
Of course, I'm being facetious because Hunt always doesn't think that amateur golfers are good if they shoot in the 80s. All right, moving on here. It is. You have a friend that's a 10 handicap and you said he's terrible. Moving on. What if you could either attend LSU, South Alabama, or Georgia, Alabama?
It's Georgia, Bama.
Yeah, it's
easy. I want to watch LSU play football. I love doing the pre and post game show. Quite honestly, I love going inside Tiger Stadium and hearing the band play and the whole deal. I enjoy the pageantry, and we don't get a lot of that. And I can't go to road games, so I only get to watch it with my own eyes 7 times a year, and that's not something I want to give up very often. But South Alabama versus going to watch Georgia and Bama playing Bryant Denny, I would probably rather do that. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get that option, but you would take the same option?
Yeah, I would too.
I think there are people out there that are like, no, especially if you factor in tailgating.
Yeah,
because you don't get that opportunity very often. I don't get the tailgate, so that part's easy.
This has the makings of one of the better games we've seen probably in the last 5 years. I would say.
I think there will probably be a lot of people who go to campus to tailgate all day and then go home to double screen the Bama and LSU games.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean I'm planning. I'm planning on me and my wife and some friends are planning on going somewhere to watch the LSU game, and hopefully another TV will have the Bama game on as well. So.
I don't know how much I'm going to be able to watch because I have to be so
you got to be watching
now.
LSU.
Look, I can two-screen it in a blowout game.
Yeah.
But now that I'm writing for .net and we're doing injury stories and like in-game stuff, like I got to know what's going on. I can't just completely check out. And I mean, there will be. Trust me, I've been in that press box enough to know there will be some folks that cover this game
100%.
that will go back in the back where the cookie tray is and Bama and Georgia are on, and they will watch that football game. And I'm jealous of them. I would much rather do that than pound away at in a 25-point game because somebody rolled an ankle. But it is what it is. That's the job, and that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to watch it, which is a little disappointing.
All right, last one here. What if you got to play every American shot in a scramble format at the President's Cup?
So they're going to hit the shot that counts, and then I'm just going to try to scramble it. I would, and so mine would either count if I hit a better one than them, or it wouldn't. I would count a few shots, specifically putts. If they miss some 8-footers, like I got a chance to make an 8-footer.
Right.
I'm not probably going to help too often off the tee for those guys. I'm not going to help from 265 with a 3-wood.
The only time I think you could help on a tee shot is obviously par threes, and maybe
I'm probably not going to help there.
No, and then maybe like a hole where you can go for the green or go short, and you can just lay up, and if they all miss maybe, but that's it.
But I would help. Over 3 days, I'd probably help 5 or 6 shots.
Yeah,
I would
definitely.
think, with some putts.
I mean, the percentages even for professionals of how many 8-foot putts they make is not super high, and so I think you could get in there.
And those guys are absurd with wedges.
Yeah.
But when you get to that short of margins, I can hit a pretty good wedge shot.
Oh, yeah.
If a guy leaves it out 15 feet, I might hit it to 8.
Maybe.
So I'm not counting on that happening very often, but I think I could help 4 or 5 shots. If Captain Fury needs me to come scramble it with the boys, I'm in.
The President's Cup, man, you can afford to have some guys that aren't exactly the highest caliber of player.
You gonna watch any President's Cup?
Is it this weekend?
It is this weekend.
Maybe
Royal Montreal.
I'll try to get a few shots in.
That's it for What If Wednesday. Take a time out, come back and close out our number 1.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Neil and Melissa have been running Boudreaux's Electrical for 40 years. They're a certified Generac dealer. They are a premier Generac generator dealer. That means that they're in the top 3% nationwide in Generac generator sales. There's a hurricane that's coming right up, Helene, headed towards the Florida Panhandle. Looks like it's going to miss us, which is good news for us around here. Hope everybody stays safe over there. But you understand, at this part of the world, these things happen. Just happened 3 weeks ago. It's so comforting to know that you've got a home standby generator and you're not going to lose power. Whether you ride the storm out and you're not going to lose power there, or you leave to evacuate, you want to come back to a house that's cool, that's running, that doesn't have spoiled stuff in the fridge you got to throw out, or the freezer you got to throw out. Just makes life easier. And then to add on to that, you talk about these summer storms that we have that roll through in the afternoon. If you work from home and your power gets knocked out, or because some guy drove into a pole and knocked your power out, the generator's going to kick on. You're not going to lose any productivity time at home. So get that generator from the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. You can call them at 985-397-1562. Again, 985-397-1562 or 225-300-9389. That's in Gonzales. 225-300-9389. It's Boudreaux's Electrical. Check them out. BoudreauxElectrical.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
The best.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1 here on a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. As I mentioned at the top of the show, fired up to get out to LSU's campus today and take in a little bit of basketball practice. It's the one time I think we get to go in there and watch for the duration of practice. They start games right around Thanksgiving. Well, no, it's the first week of November that they start playing games, so they still got good 5 weeks or so of practice. So we're not going to get deep into the basketball weeds here on the Hunt Palmer Show. But LSU is playing South Alabama in football. I'm not going to spend a ton of time crunching into the matchups 3 days out.
Not worried about the Jaguars, Hunt?
Look, if you got to worry about the Jaguars, then you got issues.
You're right, and we do have issues, Hunt.
Well, that's to be determined. I'm not ready to tell you that the team that dropped 80 on Northwestern State is going to come into Tiger Stadium and do something similar to this defense. They did lose their first 2 games of the year. And so I'm choosing to sit here and say it's a cute story that you scored a bajillion points in these 2 games and you blew out Appalachian State. That's great. This is a little bit of a different animal, and I don't expect that LSU, a team that gave up 17 to UCLA, and what, they give up 28 to USC?
27, I think.
27 to USC, something like that. I mean, I'm just not prepared to say that South Alabama is going to roll in and drop 35. Now, could be wrong. Coach Applewhite may have the boys all ready to roll, and he may come in here and set the place on fire, but I just don't anticipate that that's going to be the case. So I am interested to get out there and see some of these new players for LSU's basketball program that we haven't gotten to look at. I mean, you're, of course, going to have the same guys, some guys that are back for years, and they're returning players. Talking about Jalen Reed and Tyrell Ward. I have switched those for 2 full years. We got to figure it out. Jalen Reed, Tyrell Ward are going to be back. Mike Williams, the guy that I'm excited to see. But there are some players that are coming in. Jordan Sears at point guard. That's going to be likely the starter at point guard for LSU. He's a 5th-year senior and a guy that was really, really good at Chattanooga last year. I'm excited to see Curtis Givens, the freshman point guard who went to Montverde Academy, who I think is going to be a star at LSU. I'm excited to see Cam Carter, who's a senior. He's from Donaldsonville, played at Oak Hill, and then went to Kansas State and really had a good game in the PMAC last year. I'm excited to see what he can do. And then Corey Chest. I was curious that they redshirted him last year, but I want to see what he looks like running up and down the floor. And we got word from John Rothstein yesterday that Damian Collins, the transfer last year from Kentucky, who didn't play a ton, was kind of dealing with an injury, played against Texas A&M early in conference play, and then didn't play much after that. He's cleared to play. He's another 6'9" shot blocker, rim protector, and that's something this team is really going to need to have. So I'm excited to get out there and see this team work out a little bit. Certainly can't predict an SEC record from an hour and 20 minutes of watching practice, but I like basketball. Y'all know that. It's not a week where LSU's playing Texas A&M or Alabama or Ole Miss in football, so I feel like I can deviate for 4 minutes here and kind of talk about the kick-starting of basketball season. Kim Mulkey met with the media earlier this week and talked about the team that she's got coming in. So basketball's starting to creep. I promise we will do probably 10 minutes on basketball tomorrow, certainly none on Friday, and none probably much of next week, and certainly none the next week in LSU and Ole Miss play. But just a warning that basketball is cranking up over there at the PMAC, and we're going to get a chance to check those guys out here coming up in about an hour and 20 minutes. That means I've got about an hour and 15 minutes left to go here, and fired up to be here with you. We got SEC Power Rankings coming, but the news of the day comes from UNLV. There is an additional statement that just got released from UNLV about this whole NIL situation. I'll give my full reaction after SportsCenter. Come back on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property, so retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. This just in. The Yankees put lefty Nestor Cortez on the 15-day IL with an elbow flexor strain, so he won't be available for the start of the ALDS October 5th. Marcus Stroman starts in his place tonight against Baltimore when New York can clinch the AL East with a win. UNLV starting quarterback Matthew Sluka leaving the program. He'll redshirt this year. His agent told ESPN UNLV did not come through on a verbal offer of $100,000 from an assistant coach. Undefeated, 23rd in the coaches poll. First time the Rebels have been ranked in a major poll. Former NFL and Colorado quarterback Cordell Stewart.
For whatever reason, the Kool-Aid, that he's drinking, he's thinking that he probably can go somewhere else and get more money, and win some more games. I think he should have just stayed where he was, continue to play, put up some great numbers, and he just play the game and just keep on going. So, he just set himself back a little bit.
Cordell Stewart on unsportsmanlike. NFL Packers QB Jordan Love sprained MCL, limited participant at practice today. If he can't start Sunday, Malik Willis gets the call against the Vikings.
Why pay more for a great shave? Choose Barbasol, America's #1 brand of shaving cream. Barbasol's thick and rich lather gives you a close, comfortable shave for just half the price of gels. Barbasol.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour number 2, Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Half the work week in the rear view mirror. We're officially working towards the weekend and fired up that you're here with us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. SEC football power rankings coming to you in about 30 minutes. We'll hear from Dennis Allen here very shortly and see what he has to say about what's going on in Saints land as they prepare for the Atlanta Falcons. The news of the day in college football is weirdly centered upon UNLV. If you're unaware of this story, then you've kind of been under a rock, and that's great because we'll be the ones to break it to you. But if you are, it's continued to develop. There have been a lot of statements made by a lot of different parties here. I kind of thought this morning when Jacob and T-Bob spent an hour on this story that we would just speculate, and people would have their hot takes and their opinions, and we wouldn't really learn a lot. Well, I don't know if we've learned any hard facts, but we've certainly got a lot of people talking at this point. So I'll catch you up on as much as I know exists. It started with this statement from UNLV's starting quarterback. And of course, when I go to click that, it sends me to some pop-up ad. All right, there we go. Matthew Sluka. UNLV is undefeated. They are ranked. Sluka has played pretty well. His statistics aren't crazy, but he's run around a lot and they've won games. And he tweeted out, "I have decided to utilize my redshirt year, and I will not be playing in any additional games this season. I committed to UNLV based on certain representations that were made to me, which were not upheld after I enrolled. Despite discussions, it became clear these commitments would not be fulfilled in the future. I wish my teammates the best of luck this season and hope for the continued success of the program." So he's out. And you can read this very clearly. I was promised money. They're not going to give me the money. I'm here for the money. If I'm not going to get the money, I'm not going to play. See ya. And that's what he said. Okay, so what comes next? Well, you look up and you have some reports coming out from Pete Thamel, and he spoke with Marcus Cromartie, who represents Sluka's NIL interests. And Cromartie of Equity Sports told ESPN that Sluka was verbally promised a minimum of $100,000 from a UNLV assistant coach to transfer there. None of that money was paid. Once Sluka enrolled, there was an effort by UNLV's collective to formalize a contract at that amount. Months after Sluka enrolled and Cromartie made multiple efforts with the staff and school to address the issue, he said the school and collective came back with a contract of $3,000 per month for the next 4 months. That is $88,000 short of what Cromartie said was promised. They said, we'll give you $100,000. They came back with $12,000. Okay? That's what Cromartie, the NIL representation for Sluka, is saying. When that money didn't come, the quarterback evaluated his options and decided to play elsewhere next year. Well, that's not where it stopped. UNLV Athletics issued this statement. Former player Matthew Sluka's representative made financial demands upon the university and NIL collective in order to continue playing. UNLV Athletics interpreted these demands as a violation of NCAA pay-for-play rules, as well as Nevada state law. UNLV does not engage in such activity, nor does it respond to implied threats. UNLV has honored all previously agreed upon scholarships for Matthew Sluka. UNLV has conducted its due diligence and will continue to operate its programs within the framework of NCAA rules and regulations, as well as Nevada state law. Then you had the collective that issued a statement. That was UNLV that said, hey, they've made demands of us. That's against the law and the rules of the NCAA. We're not playing by that game. We've cooperated. We honored a scholarship. We're out. That's the university. This is the collective. We want to address the recent developments surrounding Matthew Sluka and his decision to redshirt for the remainder of the year. To clarify, there were no formal NIL offers made during Mr. Sluka's recruitment process. Additionally, friends of UNLV did not finalize or agree to any NIL offers while he was part of the team. Aside from a completed community engagement event over the summer, that was the only thing. Aside from a completed community engagement event over the summer, at Blueprint Sports and Friends of UNLV, we take our commitments very seriously. We would like to emphasize that we have upheld all Friends of UNLV contracts this season and have not defaulted on any agreements with Mr. Sluka. Our commitment to supporting Rebel student athletes remains unwavering, and we are dedicated to maintaining the integrity of our programs. We wish Mr. Sluka all the best in his future endeavors. So, essentially, to boil all that down, Sluka is out. He says, I'm quitting. They made representations to me, and they didn't happen. Pete Thamel asked his representation, said, yeah, they promised us $100,000. They promised us $12,000. And then the collective and UNLV come and say, hey, we didn't agree to any of that, and we're not doing that. That's against the rules. You go away. So it's still a lot of he said, she said. What's very clear to this point is that there was never a contractual agreement between the quarterback and the coach for $100,000. That never happened. Because if that had happened, someone would produce it. So it's fair to suggest that this is a he said, she said deal, and that it's fair to suggest Matthew Sluka is looking for a payday, which is his prerogative. I have multiple thoughts on this. And the first one, as I've kind of defaulted on regarding NIL stuff for the last pretty much a year. This is difficult for us as collegiate sports fans because for a very, very long time, as college athletics fans, we believed and felt as though the students chose to go to school there, chose to play for that team, and really did it for All State U. We believed that. Now, everyone knew that there was back channel money and under the table stuff happening, but we just buried our head in the sands on that. These are our guys. A lot of them are from our state. They go to our school, and they play for us. This is not professional ranks. There's not a draft. They're not as worried about endorsement dollars and doing commercials and music contracts. This is wholesome athletics that we're a part of here. And that's being ripped away. It's very evident that's not the case. That's why players don't play in bowl games anymore. That's why NIL has become a huge deal in recruiting. And now you've got a player on a ranked team in front of a group of 105 teammates saying, hey, I need this money, I'm out. And that is very, very difficult for college fans to come to grips with. I get it. I also understand Matthew Sluka's position. I've taken a job right out of college. It didn't pay very well. If I've got a chance, I think, to make $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $100,000, that's pretty good to start my professional life. And if I thought I was going to get this here and I'm not going to get it here, that's a tough spot to be in. If we just take football out of it, completely take football away. If Matthew Sluka agreed to build a fence for somebody for $10,000 and they said, hey, we'll give you $1,200 when he was halfway done, would anybody here say, oh, yeah, you're really in the wrong. You need to finish that fence? If he agreed to fix somebody's pipes and refloor the kitchen for $10,000, and he got halfway done, and he was doing a really good job, and they said, yeah, we'll pay you $1,200 for it, would anybody care if he quit? No. If you at your job were accomplishing what you were supposed to do, and you had agreed to a salary, and it wasn't contractually written, and the employer said, hey, we're just going to give you 12%. Everyone would stop. Everyone would stop. Now, this is not like building a fence. It's not like being a plumber. It's not like your job. It is college sports, and there is a team there that's negatively affected, and I hate that part of it. I hate that part of it. And there was a mistake made here by Matthew Sluka and his team of not having things put in contractual terms. Because you've got it written down, and it's a legal document, you've got a case, and you just take it to the court and you win. But in this wild, wild west, you can say whatever you want. Pretty sure at Florida, there was a situation where they told a quarterback, hey, Dylan Raiola. It wasn't Dylan Raiola. What's the quarterback's name? Help me out with that. Jaden Rashada.
Yeah, Rashada.
Rashada, hey, we got this. And all of a sudden, he shows up and they don't have it. Well, that's a problem. And people are going to take a course of action. I wish, personally, I truly wish that all the college football players felt like guys I've worked with, like Jacob Hester and Brandon Taylor, who say, I'm not entitled to anything. I picked this place to play football. I've got a commitment to my team, my brothers. I'm going to go out there and play. That's truly how Jacob Hester approached his time in college. It's truly how Brandon Taylor trusts his time in college. But everybody's not like that. And that's not against the law. But that's the situation that you've got here with collegiate athletics. And if you're a coach, you can either gas up that collective and make it happen like Ole Miss is doing, or you can say, we're only going to take guys who aren't as concerned with money and see what kind of talent you can pull in. It's a difficult spot.
Dabo Sweeney's learning that.
Yeah, for sure. And look, I'm not here to say Matthew Sluka is a traitor and a Benedict Arnold and just a mercenary and a money grabber. Like, an opportunity to make some real money for playing football that does exist, and he thinks he'll have another opportunity. I'm not here to tell you that's a terrible gig, but I do feel bad for his teammates that are now without a quarterback and now have to pivot on a dime because UNLV brought a guy in who was only there for the money. It's not against the law to only be there for the money, but it does adversely affect things when the money gets sideways.
And this situation could get a little muddied waters here. Ross Dellinger made obviously a lot of reporting on this, and he mentions that the Sluka's agent, Marcus Cromartie, is not registered as an agent in the state of Nevada, which
the Sluka camp got out over their skis here. This is very obvious. They got way out over their skis. They didn't have their I's dotted and T's crossed. Now they're living in a world where they can't litigate, and so they're just going to have to hope that they win the court of public approval, that somebody out there is willing to take this guy after this situation and give him the money that he wants. And hopefully for him, it's more than $12,000, which is what he had coming his way for playing at UNLV. Maybe somebody out there is willing to take him. Maybe they're not. It's not like we're talking about Joe Burrow here that wants to transfer. This is a guy who's run around a little bit for UNLV. So I think they probably overplayed their hand, and I don't think UNLV is going to see any sort of backlash from this whatsoever. It's just going to be on Sluka's camp to make the best situation they possibly can for themselves. I don't feel that bad for Matthew Sluka for not having everything put together and then for putting himself in that situation. I'd be thrilled for him if he makes $50K next year. That's great. But I feel bad for his teammates. And that's the era we're in college sports until we start to regulate this stuff. We talked to J.D. Piquel in the last hour, and he's like, maybe this is the thing that gets some regulations put in place. I don't think so. I don't think a guy, Matthew Sluka, who no one had ever heard of until 24 hours ago, I don't think that moves the needle.
Okay, but
we watched Florida State go out there and get beat by 70 freaking points in the bowl game after going 13-0. And we didn't do anything to the bowl game.
Right.
So,
but I understand the sentiment, but at the same time, you may say it doesn't move the needle, but it is. Everyone's talking about this, and even though it's not a big name player, this situation, if it continues to happen, I think will draw a lot of attention and people will.
I don't think it will, because I think, and like, here's the deal. I have some friends that are in finance, that are in banking, and they're throughout the country. And I know some people that are dealing with collegiate athletes. They have money managers. They have handlers. They have representation. If you're in a position where you can really capitalize monetarily, you get a really good team around you. This dude got a dope around him who's not licensed and not registered and didn't get the things done he needed to get done, and it created this whole thing. This is a failure by the team of Matthew Sluka.
Okay, that's fair. But I do think that if we do have similar, obviously, hopefully there aren't same situations as this, because it's just clear that the representation were not ready for this situation. But if we do have more times where stuff like this happens, I think it is going to maybe put this in the national media and could cause some people to want or actually desire something to be made here in terms of
Look,
the way it's
there's
handled.
going to be revenue sharing, which is coming next year, and that's going to create some money and some, like, we'll know what the resources are that can be put here and here and here. And I don't know if a salary cap's coming or not. I mean, I think eventually you're going to get to a situation where there's a level playing field, and you have, teams that are working like a salary cap. You're going to get this much. We're going to spend this much on this position, this much on this position. We've got this much freed up money because this guy's moving on, and you'll kind of work it that way. Right now, it's the wild, wild west. And right now, I think that the folks that are being adversely affected are Matthew Sluka's teammates at this point. And beyond that, I think it's an agent that looks kind of goofy, a player that looks kind of goofy and is going to hope for a second chance. And then I think UNLV just moves on. And you hate it. I hate it for the UNLV fans who are probably excited. They've got a ranked ball club. They've got a team that's won some games early, and now you got to go to a backup quarterback, and it's probably not going to go as well. But it's UNLV, so who knows what's going to happen at that point.
I didn't see this, hon. I don't know how we missed this, but this is a what if they had for you. What if you got an NIL deal with Red Baron and they reneged on their 7 pizzas weekly that they promised?
Man, as long as we've gotten some 7 pizza ordered, they are frozen. I can keep them on stock for quite some time. I don't need it. I don't know that I need them bringing me 50 pizzas a month. So I think we'd be in decent shape as long as the front end shipment made it. And we had some Red Baron on hand. We'd be in pretty good shape. So got some Saints talk coming up, and we'll do SEC football power rankings coming up in 15 minutes. You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Evolve Physical Therapy. EvolvePT.com is the website. If you're hurt, injured, trying to get back to being your active self, whether that's golf, running, lifting weights, youth athletics, whatever the case may be, Evolve Physical Therapy and Sports needs to be your first stop. They're on Starring near Highland Road. Robbie Bolton's been at this for 20 years, and professional athletes, collegiate athletes who make a lot of money with their bodies and making sure they're in tip-top shape and as healthy as they can possibly be, they've trusted Robbie Bolton over the years. Talking about Austin Nola, talking about Anthony Renato, talking about Mikey Matuk. These guys have trusted Robbie Bolton and the team at Evolve Physical Therapy. You can too. They're right here in Baton Rouge. They're so hands-on when you go in for your appointment. It's not one of those deals where you sit down and say, how does it feel? Okay, here's 10 exercises, do those, and we'll see you next week. Nope, they're going to be with you the entirety of your session, making sure you're getting back to being your active self. They can do the scraping, isokinetic testing, dry needling, cupping. All of that is right there on site at Evolve Physical Therapy and Sports. Check them out online, EvolvePT.com. It's Evolve Physical Therapy and Sports, EvolvePT.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Congratulations to Jamari Tillman from Baton Rouge. Jamari is the Week 4 winner in our 2024 Pick'em contest and wins a Hooters wing party for 10 people. Don't forget to make your picks for Round 5 by tomorrow at noon. That's Thursday at noon. Weekly winners will receive a Hooters wing party for 10 people. And the first place season-long champion will receive a 75-inch 4K flat-screen TV and soundbar, plus free Hooters wings for an entire year. It's the 2024 College Football Pick'em presented by Hooters.
Dennis Allen meeting with reporters right now down in Metairie. Saints attendance report is up from practice. You can check it out at louisianasports.net. Ross has got you covered there each and every afternoon. He's got his up on Twitter as well right now. Not seen at practice during the media portion of practice. Of course, Eric McCoy not there. He's going to miss 6 to 8 weeks. He's having surgery. Cesar Ruiz was not seen at practice today. Alvin Kamara not seen at practice today. And Alante Taylor not seen at practice today. Observing off to the side, but present, Kendre Miller, who I'm assuming is still on the roster. I have no idea why he's there. And then Demario Davis was there, but observing. Probably a little bit of a rest day for Demario as Saints get ready for the Falcons. But certainly concerning to see that many names on the injury report this early in the week. You'd be more concerned if it was Friday. Wednesday is obviously the first day of kind of the work week. They take Tuesday off, and they got Wednesday where they kind of get after it for the first time today. And so And not anything to pull the fire alarm over, but you'd like to have Alontae Taylor back. It's good that Marshawn Lattimore is back in action, as I drop my pen on the chair there.
Regular occurrence these days.
This is a bad top. It just kind of the pin falls out as I'm moving
maybe
it.
Maybe upgrade the pin there.
You just grab the one that's there. It's just
well,
it's
you
one
do.
Of those
You
deals.
do.
I do.
That's
I just
you.
kind of grabbed the one that's available. That one was available. Now it's on the ground. So let's get back to the Saints. You have Marshawn Lattimore that came back, and he obviously is healthy enough to play, and that's good. But you want to have Alontae Taylor and Paulson Adebo available as well. The Falcons have some really good players out on the outside. You got to deal with Drake London, obviously. Kyle Pitts plays a lot of time out on the outside. So you want to have a full complement of defensive backs ready to roll. And Alontae Taylor missed today. Alvin Kamara, I'm a little surprised to see that. I didn't see where he obviously got a little bit banged up in the game on Sunday. Came out briefly. But I don't. That doesn't feel like it's going to be a significant thing. You get just Jamal Williams some reps early in the week, and I would expect to potentially see Alvin Kamara there a little bit down the road. And then Cesar Ruiz, I didn't expect to see him either. And they've got to decide what the best look is on the interior offensive line with Eric McCoy out. Obviously, your two options at center are Lucas Patrick and Cesar Ruiz. You got to decide which guy you like there the best. They obviously moved Patrick in last week in a pinch, but now you've got a whole week to put in a game plan. My assumption is they are going to move Patrick into center as well. But Ruiz obviously played there in college and has that ability, but you're not going to get to see any reps if he's missing time in practice. So my assumption is that these are not significant injuries to Kamara and Ruiz, and that you may see them later in the week. We'll see what the injury report says about that. But you would like your full complement of offensive linemen to kind of get that look and make sure they can work together, because either way, any way you slice it, two new spots are going to be filled on the offensive line, because when you move a guard to center and your center's out, you obviously have changed the center spot and you're going to change the guard pot. You'd like those guys to be able to spend some time working together while the week progresses, and it feels like you're missing some of those opportunities early on. And then as far as Kendre Miller and Demario Davis go, Miller, obviously, I don't expect anything from. And then Demario Davis, you would think you would see him later on in the week. If you're looking for more coverage of your New Orleans Saints, you can find it at LouisianaSports.net. And Ross Jackson will have the full injury report and practice report up later today over there on .net. You can also follow him on Twitter at Ross Jackson NOLA. So once again, if you're just jumping in, looking for that attendance report, Alontae Taylor, Alvin Kamara, Cesar Ruiz, Eric McCoy not seen at the media portion of practice. Observing off to the side, Kendre Miller and Demario Davis. So that's your look at the black and gold here on this Wednesday. We'll get to more Falcons prep in earnest tomorrow. I've put a few feelers out for some Falcons guests tomorrow and the next day. It's a huge, huge game for New Orleans and for Atlanta. Both teams could be 3-0 at this point, if not for a couple of things that have gone against them. But it's obviously going to be a huge game for division implications. We would imagine at this point, late in September, that both teams very much feel like they are threats to win the NFC South, and I think that's probably justified with the way that they've played early on. So big game from the ATL coming up on Sunday. We'll keep you posted all week long as to how the Saints are progressing from an injury perspective and getting some thoughts on the game plan for the black and gold. When we come back, SEC football power rankings. It's a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Make LeBear's Baton Rouge your game day headquarters this season. They've got the biggest screens around, and now you can bet and dine at ESPN Bet in person. ESPN Bet is fantastic. It's got huge screens, as we just mentioned, great seating options, whether it's a table there where you can have a whole group, or you want to sit individually in their reclining chairs, the big old places where you can dine and have your drink sitting there. It's a fantastic spot to hang out and watch some football. You can do it all day Saturday, all day Sunday there at ESPN Bet, and you can wager against me. Join the Cover 5 SEC contest. LABRSEC24 is the code. LABRSEC24. Pick 5 SEC games every week against the spread. You can compete against me and the 90-plus others that are competing each and every week. You can register to win weekly and season-long prizes. If you're not a member, get the Pin Play app today. LeBear's Baton Rouge, your live sports headquarters. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966 for help.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, chugging along here on a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Take it or leave it, coming at you. Then I'm going to jet out of here and go watch a little LSU basketball practice. Report on it a little bit tomorrow, and there will be a report up this evening on LouisianaSports.net. So if you're curious about LSU's basketball team and how some of the newcomers may look in their first squad practice, LouisianaSports.net this evening, I will have a report up for you. All right, Beck, how's your confidence in my power rankings entering today?
Not great.
Why?
I haven't liked them very much.
They're great. They're perfect. I never even have to move very much. They're so good. I was on this basically right out of the chute. We're talking about minor movements here and there.
Yeah,
I didn't miss the boat on almost anybody.
Just because you haven't had to make adjustments doesn't mean that they're all right.
It does.
No.
In fact, it means they're perfect.
Not really.
Let's get to them.
Hunt's SEC Power Rankings.
We start with number 1. They've been
the
number 1 the whole
Bulldogs.
way. The Georgia Bulldogs. Look, Clemson looked a little bit better the last couple of weeks. Is Georgia really good? I guess we find out for sure this weekend if they're for real. They'll be in Tuscaloosa to take on the Tide. I still think Georgia's the best team in the league until proven otherwise, but I could be proven otherwise. Number 2.
The Texas Longhorns.
They'll beat Mississippi State by 1,000 this week, and then they got a bye, and then we really find things out. Like, that's a really good win going up to Michigan and winning. I don't want to take that away from them, but you got Oklahoma, and then you got Georgia to follow after that. I still think Texas is very much a playoff team. They may be the best team in the country. I've got them a tick behind Georgia. We shall see, but they are my number 2. Number 3.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Vols are playing some defense, y'all. Number 1 in the country in total defense, and that's not all patsies like Ole Miss has played. They played NC State. He's not great. They played Oklahoma. 2 Power 4 teams away from Knoxville, and they're the number 1 total defense in the country. They're the number 6 rush offense in the country. They are really a ground and pound defensive team. Everybody thinks about Hendon Hooker, Heupel going fast, throwing it all over the place. They run the ball and they play really good defense. That's a really good team at Tennessee. I think they're a national championship threat. I've got them at number 3. Number 4.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
They haven't played anybody. However, they are allowing 5.5 points per game, so that's pretty good. Kentucky comes to Oxford this week. That's another miserable offensive team, so I don't expect Kentucky to score a lot of points. I think Ole Miss probably will. And then they'll get to their bye, and they'll be flying high when they come into Baton Rouge in a couple of weeks. I've got Ole Miss at number 4. I think they're legitimate. I think they're good.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
I like this stat for Alabama. We'll see if they can do it this week against Georgia. But they're running the ball for 238 yards per game and passing it for 228. It's just a 10-yard difference in running and passing for Alabama in total offense. They've still got some dudes on defense. I think Kalen DeBoer is a good coach. I haven't quite made a lean which way on Saturday for Alabama and Georgia. I do think Alabama's a pretty good team. It's weird to put them down at number 5, but I think they're a threat to make the SEC championship game.
The Missouri Tigers.
I did not move Missouri, and they barely beat Vanderbilt, and they barely beat Boston College. The reason I didn't move Missouri is because the two teams right behind them I don't think are world beaters either. So Missouri keeps winning. They won a lot last year. There's something to that, but the competition's about to ratchet up here a little bit. It's one of the easier schedules in the SEC for sure, but they're not going to play Vanderbilt every week. So they got to step it up, but right now I'll leave them at 6. I had no changes 1 through 6 in my rankings this week.
The LSU Tigers.
I had no changes in my rankings 1 through 7. I probably needed to after halftime of last week for LSU, but in the second half, they played a lot better. So I still think LSU's got a true strength. They can really throw the ball, and I think that they're getting better on defense. I don't think they're a championship-level team right now. There's a reason I didn't move Missouri off 6. I don't think that LSU's proven they're better than Missouri at this point. I've got the Tigers at number 7. No changes 1 through 7, but there is a change coming up at number 8.
Texas A&M!
Had Oklahoma here, had to move them out. That's just too bad on offense. Texas A&M's not great, but they do run the ball pretty well. They're number 8 in the country in rush offense. Le'Veon Moss is averaging 5.5 yards per carry and 88 yards per game. Marcel Reed, the quarterback they've plugged in, is running for 72 yards per game as well. Wigman was at practice today, but not going through drills. He may be out again against Arkansas. They'll probably hand the keys to Marcel Reed. A&M's got a good defensive coach. They can run the ball. I think they're okay. They're not great, but that's why they're the number 8 team in the country.
The Oklahoma
Sooners.
SEC.
In the SEC, thank you. It's SEC Power Rankings. Oklahoma moves back a spot to number 9. They are the worst total offense in the Southeastern Conference. And that's because of games against Tulane and Houston before they got to Tennessee. They got problems on the offensive side. That's why Jackson Arnold is down. Michael Hawkins is up. That defense is good. Oklahoma leads the country in turnovers forced. That's a good thing, especially when you're going to Auburn, who turns the ball over all the time, just turns it over for everybody. Oklahoma's good on defense, not on offense. I've got them at number 9. Number 10.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
They didn't move. Norris Sellers did not play against Akron. Now they've got a bye week, so Sellers should be good to go for Ole Miss in 2 weeks. I don't know if that'll matter. I don't think South Carolina matches up very well with Ole Miss, but Gamecocks better than I had them at the beginning of the year, but still I got them at number 10. No movement from last week.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
I've got the Hogs up 2 spots after they went to Auburn and won. Not because I think they're great, but they're better than some of the teams that I'm about to rattle off after them. Taylor Green is number 10 in the country in total offense. Their defense played well enough to force all those turnovers against Auburn on the road. They're not good, but they're better than I thought they were. I think I may have had them 16. No, I had Vanderbilt 16. I had Arkansas 15 in my initial rankings. They're better than that. They're number 11 in this week's Power Rankings.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
A nice job blowing somebody out I never heard of last week, but when you play the big games, they generally don't go the Wildcats' way.
Ohio? You're talking about you never heard of the Bobcats?
The Bobcats, whatever. Number 16 in scoring offense in the SEC. That's good for dead last. Number 15 in the SEC in total offense. That's second to last. Number 16 in passing offense. That is dead last. They just can't move the ball. That's a big problem. They had Brock Vandegrift. That hasn't worked out. Kentucky's not good on offense, and that's why they're down at number 12 this week.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Yes!
Back, number 13.
Hunt.
The Doors.
You have atoned for all of your sins, Hunt.
Wow, that means a lot, Beck. That means a tremendous amount. The
This
Doors,
is incredible.
What a team! Up to number 13. Diego Pavia, second to Taylon Green in quarterback rushing yards this year. They've played well. They're spunky. They're plucky. They got to win over Virginia Tech. They played tough at Missouri. Yeah, they went to Turner Field and got beat. It happens. But they're better than the teams behind them, I think. They're number 13 in this week's Power Rankings. Who is Vanderbilt better than?
Oh, give me 1 second. Sorry, I was typing in the chat that you made up for all of your
How
all
about
your
we focus on
here.
the Power Rankings and leave the chat alone?
The Florida Gators.
Vandy's better than Florida. Mississippi State doesn't count for a big win. Sorry. I appreciate the fact that the quarterback's completed a lot of throws and it looks like it's going okay. It's not. Philly's time is short there in Florida. They're number 14. They should never be number 14. Number 15.
The Auburn Tigers.
They've lost 2 home games to stinky teams. I don't know how else to phrase that. Arkansas is not great. Cal's not great. Auburn turns the ball over a remarkable amount. It doesn't matter the quarterback. They're not good on offense. I thought Hugh would have it figured out by now offensively. He hasn't. He's got bad quarterback play. One's old and bad. One's young and bad. I don't know which bad one he's going to go with, but they're bad. And that's the point with Auburn right now. That's why they're the second worst team in the SEC. They're down 2 spots after that loss at home to Arkansas. Number 16.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Coach Levy, we got issues. Got big issues. Because not only can you not stay on the field with MAC teams, you now have to play Texas and Georgia in the next 2 weeks. And that is not good if you're Coach Levy. So go recruit. Try to find some new Bulldogs. Pet the pet Bulldog over there. Maybe go to baseball practice and see what Coach Jans is doing with the basketball team. But football in Starkville, it's really not good. That's why they're last.
That's quite the list you got there. Of course, the chat, unsurprisingly, very upset with LSU still being behind Missouri after that very close loss to a team that they like, though. They really like Vandy. They're mad that you had Vandy so low, and then you've moved Vandy up.
Then let's talk about these one at a time. I've got LSU at 7 because LSU has had its issues on defense. They didn't look good on defense against Nichols. They didn't look good on defense against South Carolina. And for half the game, UCLA can't move the ball in Hawaii, and they're moving the ball up and down the field in LSU. But they got better in the second half.
Yep.
LSU's best is better than Missouri's best because offensively they throw the ball better than Missouri does, which I can't quite figure out because Missouri has good wide receivers and a veteran quarterback. But Missouri's won the games, and LSU lost one against USC, who, by the way, lost last week. And I'm not opposed to the switch. I just didn't feel compelled to make it.
I don't think that you could go wrong either way. I think LSU and Missouri are what and what at this point in the season.
And I've got them pigeonholed there, and you've got in front of them, like right in front of them is 5 Alabama, 4 Ole Miss. I don't think they're in that class. And right behind them is A&M and Oklahoma, which I guess you could make the point. Like A&M went on the road and crushed Florida, and they played Notre Dame head up, but whatever. Oklahoma hasn't looked great. I mean, it's just flawed teams right there. They're not in the Vanderbilt, Florida, Auburn category, but they're also not in the top. As far as Vandy goes, they're better than I thought. They're played pretty well. Like, you shouldn't lose to Georgia State, but you played Power 5 teams in Virginia Tech and beat them, and you went to overtime with Missouri as well and could have won that game. So that's clearly better than anything Florida, Auburn, and Mississippi State's done.
Yeah, I agree. And with LSU and Missouri, both of those, it's going to be the only way that they're ever going to be able to move up from where they're at is they're going to have to beat those guys ahead of them. That's the only way. So at this point,
or those guys ahead of them have to lose,
or
lose,
or lose. That's true. But I don't think I don't want to speculate on what we're gonna see next week of the power rankings. But if Alabama loses to Georgia, it's still going to be hard for me to imagine Missouri or LSU jumping them because neither of them are going to be playing anyone.
LSU's playing South Alabama. And what's Missouri doing? They're
that's a good.
I think they're off this week.
They're off.
They're off.
There's
only Kentucky.
There's only 5 other games besides.
I know
LSU.
their first 2 were Vanderbilt and Kentucky.
Yeah, they're off.
So they're off, and then Kentucky. So you're not. Missouri with the bye week's not going to jump Alabama.
Right.
I promise you that. So. Alabama's probably kind of locked in.
I think that's what I'm saying. They're locked at 5. There's no one else that can move up above them right now.
I think obviously Ole Miss could lose to Kentucky by 2 scores, and then we could back them up. That could move, but I don't think Alabama's going to fall much this week. And even if they lose by 40, it is what it is. All right, that's your SEC Power Rankings for this week. Those will be posted up on our social media feeds, and you can do whatever you like with them. Turn them into a dartboard, worship them, whatever the case may be. Let's close out the show coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Look, you may not want to move. You may have locked in a great interest rate a few years ago. You're not willing to pay the 6% that things are sitting at right now. You're comfortable in that 2.5 to 3 range. That doesn't mean you can't upgrade your living situation just because you're not going to move. Just go ahead and get that brand new bathroom, customized closet. Do you spend time in the morning rummaging through shoes and trying to find a place to cram in coat hangers? You don't have enough room. There's not a mirror in there. There are no shelves and cubbies. You're trying to find a place to hang your ties, and they're falling down. There's suitcases everywhere. You can simplify that and organize it and make it look good. Plus, it's functional. Customized to your very needs. Starts with a free consultation. You tell David Duvall what you got, what you're looking for. They'll put together a customized plan for you. They'll put it into action, and they'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. Customized Closet can do wonders for you. So could a brand new bathroom. Start that process at One Bath and Closets. Go to the website, onebathandclosets.com. See the free consultation link. Go ahead and look at the reviews of their fantastic work and see the pictures of it as well. You can check them out on Instagram or go online, onebathandclosets.com, onebathandclosets.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
One 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Shell are excited to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Tiger Stadium with our Draw to 100 sweepstakes. We're giving you the opportunity to join in the VIP-style celebrations on October 12th for the Ole Miss game. Sign up today at 1045ESPN.com. We'll live stream the drawing on October 10th, and the 100th name drawn will win Stadium Club seats, sideline passes, and autographed memorabilia. It's the Draw to 100 sweepstakes presented by Shell, the rhythm of Louisiana.
All right, wrapping things up here on a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Lots of great things up at LouisianaSports.net right now. I've got a Q&A from yesterday with Kyle Parker talking about BK criticizing his dance moves, talking about criticizing BK's dance moves. Also called Garrett Nussmeier the best quarterback in the country. That whole Q&A is up at LouisianaSports.net, as well as piece on 3 freshmen we had a chance to talk to yesterday. Trades Green on the offense. Talked to Ahmad Bro on the defense. We talked to Deshaun Spears on the defense and kind of talked to them about what it takes to get ready to play as a true freshman early on in your college career. And there were some really good quotes, I thought, and some good nuggets in there. So go check that out, LouisianaSports.net. Also, for those of you that are locked in on the Saints this time of year as they get ready for the Falcons, Ross Jackson's got his practice report that's going to be up there very, very shortly. They talked to Dennis Allen earlier today as well. So you can catch all of that up at LouisianaSports.net. And it's all 100% free. My basketball practice report will be going up this evening after I get a look at the Tigers on the hardwood. All right, let's do some take it or leave it, Beck.
All right, first one here. Shohei Ohtani's 50-50 ball will be auctioned by Collectibles Marketplace Golden on Friday after the person who caught the ball consigned it to them. The Dodgers reportedly offered the fan $300,000 for the ball, but he turned it down. The opening bid will start at $500,000. Dodgers or Ohtani should have rights to the ball. Take it or leave it.
I got to leave it. This guy got a huge break. I'm not going to tell him to turn down the monster payday. Like, if the Dodgers want to spend $500,000 on the ball, they got it. If Shohei wants to spend $500,000 on the ball,
well, that's where the bidding starts now.
Yeah,
so it could very well get into the millions. Of course, they both have that too.
So I know that Shohei is having to keep things a little bit tight because he deferred his whole contract for 10 years from now. But I think he can afford it if they want him to go ahead and make that happen. So. I think it's very admirable if someone does want to give the ball back in return for some autographs, tickets, that kind of stuff. I think that's very admirable that Shohei or the Dodgers would have it or the Hall of Fame would have it if you want to do that. But I'm not telling you have to do that. You were there, you paid for your tickets, you caught the ball, you got the ball. Yeah. So at that point, you can kind of do whatever it is you want. If you want to turn it in for a big payday, have at it.
All right, next one here. Dwight Howard has made waves with his appearance on Dancing with the Stars, getting some of the top scores of the first 2 weeks of the show. Kind of surprising some people. B12 will win it all. Take it or leave it.
Well, that's tough for me to handicap because I've never seen him dance, and I've never seen anyone else dance on the show.
We do have
and I don't
someone.
even know how the show works.
We do have someone that watches Dancing with the Stars. Her name is Cassie.
Is he going to win, Cassie? I mean, it doesn't surprise me that he's a great athlete and he's light on his feet and he can dance. He is 7 feet tall.
So I think he can get in like the top 3, but there's also a person who was on Disney Channel like as a dancer, so she's pretty good. She'll probably most likely
get like
win
the Jennifer Lopez of the world out there. They're going to be tough.
There's the guy who did the pommel horse, the Olympics, is in there.
Yeah,
he's pretty
good.
He's
adorable.
He's really good.
But I think he could get like top 3.
All right. I mean, a 7-footer dancing, that's difficult to do, but I'm not surprised he's light on his feet and he can make it happen.
All right, last one here. We love to talk about the White Sox.
Goodness.
They shook off history for one more day last night. They won to avoid the modern era loss. I didn't see who they played, but they'll go on a
They played somebody who choked in the 9th inning and like made some errors. I can't remember who it was.
Let's see. Well, shoot. Oh, the Angels? Was it the Angels?
It sounds right.
Yeah, the Angels. They'll go on a 5-game win streak to avoid the 121st loss. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it. I think they're going to lose another one at some point, and it's very likely tonight. They got a guy on the mound. He's got 5 decisions. What do you think his record is?
2-15.
No, 5 decisions.
Oh, 5 decisions. 0-5.
0-5. That's correct.
I thought you were saying overall record.
I wonder if that guy, who was it that was
some guy went like 15 straight or something.
Or 20
yeah,
starts.
I can't remember who that was.
Just very difficult. It was Chris Flexen.
That's who it was. Yeah.
I hope they won one of his starts.
Well, his ERA too was only like 4 or 5. It wasn't like it was that bad.
They can't score. They're just awful. No, they're probably going to lose. I know a lot of people went to the game last night in hopes that they were going to lose and you would see history, but they hadn't gotten there yet. But yeah, I don't like their odds to win Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to avoid the 121st.
Yeah, and you texted me last night too. Somebody proposed. On the Jumbotron.
That had to be fake, right?
I don't know. I maybe
I mean, it was during the game. You could see the picture on the Jumbotron was being taken, and the pitcher was on the mound like gonna pitch.
Look, like it's possible, but at the same time, maybe they thought, hey, this is gonna be a memorable. Whether or not it's good or bad, it's gonna be memorable. We'll remember the night that the White Sox broke the record. Yeah,
we got engaged to be married. That's how romantic.
It is.
The Cubs sideline reporter Taylor McGregor saw it, and she commented on Twitter, said, I would say no if my boyfriend proposed to me at a sporting event. If it was at this specific sporting event, I would delete his number.
Fair enough.
That's a tough scene. It's kind of a bleak affair to do that at, but the White Sox have brought that upon themselves, and it's just losing 121 Major League Baseball games is really, really freaking impressive. Like, that is exceptionally hard to do.
It is. All right, how about one more here? Matt McMahon currently talking to the media.
Yes.
He said, quote, look at last season, the way we were able to finish with great wins over great programs, then to transfer that into success in the recruiting trail. I think there's great energy and excitement. The Tigers in the tournament. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. There will be energy and excitement if they get off to a good start and they win some SEC games. But that's what it takes. They're not going to just get it because they roll out there in purple and gold with the basketball. It just doesn't work that way. I'll be there, but most people won't. And that's just the way things work around here. So I am excited for basketball. I'm always excited for basketball. I love that sport. I love watching LSU play. And I do believe there's reason to think this can be an NCAA tournament team. However, as we've discussed many times, the league is really, really good.
It is.
And it is not going to be difficult in any stretch of the imagination to lose 4 conference games in a row. That's just, if you don't play well, you will get beat. There just aren't that many layups. So it's not the SEC of 15 years ago where there were some really, really atrocious teams. You got to play well. So I'm hopeful that the Tigers do that, and I'm going to go check them out right this second. I'm disappointed that Matt McMahon's already at the podium. I was hoping he might be a little bit late. That's more of a football thing. They're always late.
Yeah.
I had to clean up after the cat yesterday because she screwed everything up, and so I had to do that before player interviews. I got to the player interviews 15 minutes late.
The cat, man. Well, you weren't. At least you weren't wearing your pants this time, were you?
I was not.
Okay.
It was the same type of issue though. But we weren't wearing the pants, so we're good. But I got to player interviews like 20 minutes late, and I didn't miss anything. They hadn't gotten there yet.
Nope.
Basketball, of course, they're right on time. Kent's got them up and humming. So I'm probably going to be a little bit late for practice, but we'll see. I'm going to be out of this chair in the next 45 seconds, and I'm going straight to my car and straight to practice, so we'll see how that goes. But if you missed any of the show today, you can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on demand tab. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you find your sound, you can always find us. Cool sound from Ahmad Bro at the top of the show talking about how he became a defensive tackle basically almost overnight. Involved a lot of Whataburger. You can go back and listen to that at Hunt on LSU. JD Piquel of 1-3 Sports was with us. It was a What If Wednesday. We talked about the NIL situation in Vegas and Dennis Allen with the Saints guys that missed practice today. Catch all that on demand. Matt's going to drive you home on AFR. Have a wonderful Wednesday evening. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place, with a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.